Hi everyone! Welcome to Artsonia's After School Art Club. Today, we have a fun art project from Shannon Wood, an art teacher from Maryland. Hope you enjoy the video, and don't forget to have your artwork uploaded to your Artsonia gallery.
For this project, you're going to need your completed drawing of a tree that you've done with the permanent marker. You're going to need a cup of water with a paintbrush. You're going to need a paper towel, and you're going to need some watercolor paint. All right, let's paint our trees. So you want to make sure your brush is nice and wet. All right, and then pick out the color you're going to use and add water to it. So I'm kind of dotting my paintbrush in the water. And I'm going to go ahead and paint right over top. Now since we used a permanent marker, the marker shouldn't dissolve in the water. So it will resist the watercolor that you're adding. Like so. Other things you can use for resist, you can also use oil pastels or crayons. They make great resists too. So if you don't have a permanent marker, or you're not allowed to use a permanent marker, then use a crayon instead. And if you want the black look like I have, just use a black crayon. Or you could add color by using a colored crayon. Now I'm adding a little bit of red to my brown because I like that look of mixing the colors and not using a color straight out of the pan the way it is originally. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting when you mix your colors about. Another good color to mix with your brown would be green if you want your tree to have a young sapling kind of look. A lot of new trees have that bright green to their bark and branches. You could also use purple if you want to darken your tree and give it like it's got a dark walnut or color. Black also works well for darkening your brown. Totally up to you. Mix right on your paper and just go back and forth between your brown and whatever color you're mixing into it. And this is your tree. If you want it to be very fanciful, it doesn't have to be brown at all, right? Maybe your tree is a rainbow of colors. That's alright. I have now painted my tree. A couple of places it got pretty wet, so I might take my paper towel and just blot up any excess if it seems just a little too wet in one area or another. That's up to you, especially if you got like a big blob of paint or something and you want to let it dry a little bit. Alright, so we're going to start working on the background next. So I'm going to clean my brush really good, tapping it on the bottom of my water cup. Make sure I get all that lovely brown and red out. But I still need some water. And I'm going to go into my green. And I'm going to make my tree be on a grassy hill. Add some green. Going back for senior. Now because my scene's going to be at night, I think I'm going to add a little bit of blue to my green, just to give it a darker look. Alright, we're now ready to do our mountains. So once again, I'm going to clean my brush really well. I think I'm going to mix red and purple for my mountains. So I'm going to start with some red. And I'm going to go back and add some purple. Alright, we're now ready to paint our moon and our night sky. Alright, so I'm going to take my brush, and now that it's been cleaned really well, I'm going to go into the yellow and make my moon a nice bright yellow. It's a full moon. So there's my moon. Now I'm ready to clean my brush really well. I'm going to do the background. And for the background, I'm going to use purple. So it has a nice, rich nighttime sky look. And I might mix a little bit of black into my purple as I work to really give it a dark look. Let's go in and add a little bit of that black. You're going to want to add quite a bit of water to the black because black can be very strong. Let's just add just a little bit of that, and even that's really coming in strong. So I'm going to go back to my water, and I'm going to add just straight water to that black and purple. Really help it mix up a bit. And then I think I'm even going to take my paper towel and blot up some of that black. Because man, did that come out really strong. So like I said, adding that water to your black as much as possible. Okay, I like that. Let's go back to the purple. And keep going. And I'm going to keep going like that until the entire background is full. Alright, you should now let your painting dry before going back and touching anything up if you choose to touch anything up. And you should leave your paint tray open to the air and let it dry out before closing it, just because the waters that's left in there could leak out if you try to carry it somewhere and things like that. So it's just best to let it dry out before you close it up. Alright, now that my painting's dry, I'm taking my thin permanent marker and I added a few swirls to my moon just to make it look a little less like a sun and a little more like a moon. Just kind of randomly placing them in spots. Kind of circles with a little bit of a swirl to it. Alright. I'm also going to go back and add a few blades of grass here and there by just kind of making a few lines with my ultra thin permanent marker. Just making some little M's. Oh, and there's my nighttime tree. I'm going to sign the bottom. And I'm finished. All right, thanks for joining me.